Among some groups from the north, there are legends that speak of giant beings who ate people, called Ganokos. Especially in the state of Chihuahua, towards northern Mexico. They are inhabitants of an indigenous group called Tarahumaras, though their more current name is Rarámuris. Within this group, there are several legends that have been passed down for at least 500 years. Of course, there are various versions of the same, but essential aspects of all versions refer to the fact that in the Tarahumara mountain range, thousands of years ago, there were giant and very strong men. Some were the size of trees or even mountains. These, being called, were capable of uprooting pine trees as if they were grass, usually living in caves in the mountains. When the Rarámuris arrived in the area, they met these beings and began to coexist with them. However, their coexistence was difficult because the Ganokos abused the Rarámuris. These giants often got drunk, causing destruction. They would steal women from their homes, kill pregnant women, and take their babies and feed on them, and commit many other evils. Fed up with these abuses, the Rarámuri united and formulated a plan to eliminate them. Despite abuse, these beings would sometimes help the Rarámuris with farming and planting. But because of the ongoing mistreatment, the Rarámuri decided to get rid of them and planned to invite the Ganoko to work the lands. When they finished, they fed them as to the contained chilicote seeds, which swelled in the giant's stomach, killing them. Other versions says that trapped them in caves, creating smoke with chili, and thus the giants also died. But whatever the cause, with their death, the Rarámuris lived more peacefully. Now, what is truth and what is fantasy being these myths? For the Rarámuris, there are real events that took place, and while one can doubt the existence of giant beings, there is evidence of these same narratives. Based on physical evidence, it can be confirmed that the Rarámuris, in their most remote regions, inhabited desert areas between 700 and 900 AD. Gradually, in search of better living conditions, they migrated towards the Tarahumara mountain. And by 102,000 AD, they settled where we find them today. During the winter, many of them moved to the canyons, and in summer, they moved to the peaks. Their encounter with the Ganokos didn't happen in the desert, where the region lay, but rather when they moved to the mountain areas, perhaps they gave the mountains the symbolism of being giant beings. However, to this day, the stories of Ganokos have only been found from the time of the arrival of the Spaniards. Those records of the Ganokos are found in narratives from the 7th century onward, such as this one, from 6081 to 6083, in the forest and mountains. They were found of great stature, like wild men, whom they called Testsani. These would kill passers-by, and the woman of these founts, called Uribi, would kill infants and children. There are other records that mention them, but none are pre-Hispanic. Additionally, reinforcing these myths, several caves in Chihuahua, specifically the caves where these beings supposedly lived according to legends, have been found with engravings of giant beings, larger than common humans. Examples include rock paintings in the Cueva de las Monas, where we see enormous beings. Another example is inside AH-07, or giants can clearly be seen alongside figures that could be Rarámuris. While disengaging and ancient, they are not thousands of years old, as they are estimated to have been created between the 6th and 7th centuries. Thus, we not only have an oral tradition of various legends about the Ganokos, but also graphic representations of them. These likely fit the myths of subsequent generations, giving rise to the diverse legends that have reached us. Obviously, the bones of giant beings have been found to confirm their existence. However, a new theory has emerged that speaks of beings that may have existed and were called Ganokos by the pre-Hispanic Rarámuris. As mentioned earlier, the earliest reliable evidence of the Ganokos coincides with the arrival of Europeans. For this reason, some believe that these abusive drunken beings who stole, raped, and killed might have been the Spaniards. Although this cannot definitely be proven, there is a coincidence between the first records of Ganokos and the arrival of the Spaniards. To the Rarámuris, these beings seemed like something from another planet, never seen before. And yes, their abusive behaviors align with those of the Ganokos, but even if these were not true, and the Ganokos did not originate from the Spaniards, but from the tribes the Rarámuris had to contend with, the legends were inscribed in rocks as well as passed down throughout oral stories. So, what do you think? Did the Ganokos exist? Were they actually Spaniards? Or were they a way of represent the nature that surrounded the Rarámuris over 500 years ago?